All right, what's up, everyone? Happy Monday. Hi, Jen. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Once again, the windows are open, so if you hear birds screeching, there's like a crow or something outside.
We don't own a bird.
It could be the hawk that's been around too. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah. I saw that yesterday, actually.
Kind of sounds like the hawk. There it
Yeah,
is.
it does.
All right, so today we're going to talk about some things that I think surprise people in business, some things that people may think are super important when they're starting out and they learn either just through time or through hard lessons the hard way, that certain things just aren't as important as you might think. So I wanted to talk about that. I got the list going on, but yeah. Either way, we always start with our
Opening takes.
So let's get those going. And you're going first, she said?
I'll go first. I see a lot on social media platforms of owners complaining that they can't get their staff to be motivated. How do I motivate my staff? Blah, blah, blah. So at the end of the day, lead by example. So for me, I would like our staff, I don't care if our staff posts on social media or not. That's up to them. That's their gig or not their gig. But what I do expect from our staff is to challenge themselves, to grow, to be uncomfortable. So if I ask them to do those things, or if I push them in a direction for that, I really need to do the same for myself because they're looking up to Todd and I to lead them and to show them by example that we can do hard things and we can get through them. So a couple ways I do that is this week I decided to challenge myself to stay late on Friday. Not that I don't work enough, but I like to work more. And I picked a model and I wanted her to come in, and it happened to be a friend of Marley's. And I asked her if I could record and work on some social media content. And then I really wanted to work on taking good pictures from the front, getting her face. And I needed to pick a model that I was comfortable working with. And that was my avatar. So for me, that's somebody that wants to be blonde, is fun. I generally pick people in my age range, but in this case, I picked somebody younger because it was just, I knew the hair would be the model I was looking for. And I crushed it. And I was so proud of myself. So we filmed it. I filmed parts of it. I took pictures from the front. And when I post them on Slack, that's our what we communicate with the staff. I was like, Todd, you have to look. I'm so proud of the pictures I've got of my model, and then showing her, and we were celebrating together. I'm like, you look so pretty. Like, I just was so proud of both of us. Like, she was smiling, she was happy, the hair looked great. And on top of that, I was able to get some insight how to take better pictures for my social media. Again, it's not something I care a lot about, but I do use it as a tool to inspire the staff. And I also show them that if you want to create good content, it's not always during, or most often not during your work schedule. You have to put the effort in outside of it. And I show them these things by doing them myself. So if you want your staff or anybody around you to do different things, you're going to have to lead by example because they're watching.
Awesome. I've got two quick opening takes. So first one, I didn't have anything going on for a thought for an opening take, so I just thought back to over the weekend. I engaged with a couple of social media posts in some groups, and I'll just share the feedback. So the first one was somebody was asking about creating a sub business within their salon. They're looking at either a coffee bar, some sort of retail, baked goods, sandwiches. Don't laugh, Jen. Wants to find something that they can start off small and then scale, and wants to know what people's experiences are. So I wrote my experience, and I even wrote, this is just my 2 cents. I said to this person, basically, I'd maximize what you already are providing before adding anything else. So back to the gym industry, we had a gym for a decade, and what we would see people focus on instead of marketing, instead of retention, instead of excuse me, instead of maximizing their offerings, they'd start adding things like smoothie bars, supplements, t-shirts, on, and they never got 100% out of anything, because what it does is it draws you too thin. You cannot focus on everything at the same time and give 100% to everything. And a lot of owners out there are talking about how burnt out they are and how they can't handle training staff. You definitely don't have time to run a coffee bar. You know what I mean? So I think the same thing could happen in this industry. Adding could end up watering down your core offering. Again, I said this at the end. I'm not saying don't go for it. I'm just saying be cautious and don't lose focus on your core business. Another post, somebody had said, I've grown faster than the systems that I had, and I have to scale back and let some of the team go so that I can actually give it my all. I'm grateful for a large team, but I got here in such a short time. After opening, I'm losing control with no real systems. I fear that bringing systems in at this point will just throw everyone's comfort off. Anyone go through something similar? So I'm the only comment on this post, by the way. But I wrote, we had a team that got uncomfortable when we updated our system, so now we have a new team. The team that takes you from 1 to 10 won't be the team that takes you from 10 to 100. Make the changes you know you need to make.
Mm-hmm. If you're already going to let staff go, why wouldn't you just put in the systems that and see which ones will thrive in that environment?
For sure. Yeah, there's a million ways to do it, Jen. I think that people focus too much, though, on worrying about satisfying everyone in their business instead
It's
of
never going to
building a
happen.
business. And yeah, it's just not going to happen. So, all right, let's dive into this episode. There we go. My notes wouldn't scroll. I think so. This is stuff that people are going to learn over time. So if you've been an owner for a while, you've probably already dealt with this stuff. You've probably already learned this stuff. If you've been an owner for a shorter amount of time, you probably haven't dealt with this yet, or you're going to. Or
you're in it.
Or you're in that weird phase where you truly believe these things are what's going to help your business or sustain your business or whatever. And we'll just run through this list, and then Jen, you can just chime in. Great hair automatically builds success. I think that's one of the most common, probably, downfalls in this industry, because not everyone, but most people are doing great hair. Most people are doing good hair. It's passable, right? So that doesn't automatically mean that your salon is going to be successful when you open one. It doesn't automatically mean that when you go rent a chair that you're going to be successful because you do good hair. Why? We've said this, I don't know how many times, thousands. The skill set's needed. It's two different skill sets. So if you're good at hair, it doesn't mean you're going to be good at business. And if you're good at business, it doesn't mean you're going to be good at hair. I've said this before and joking, but go to a business school, take their top students and hand them a pair of scissors and a comb. Can they do hair? No. Why? Because those skills don't transfer.
Right.
They have nothing to do with each other. So I'm not saying technical skill doesn't matter. It does, but it's the entry level. It's a prerequisite.
It's the expected.
Yeah, it's what's expected. Nothing?
I would agree. I got nothing.
All right, let's just move on. We'll make this a quick episode. It's just going to be me talking today.
I think people like to hear you talking.
I doubt it. This next one is a big one too, because it carries over in almost every industry. More clients will fix all your problems. Every salon owner thinks this. How do you get new clients? How do you get more clients? How do you get whatever, all these clients? How do I get clients from my staff? What worked for you to get clients in the door? Should I do discounts? That stuff is really not as important as I would ask yourselves two things. Are they the right clients? Because that's a whole lot better than just random people.
Mm-hmm.
And then can you maintain them? Are you retaining these people? Are they coming back? A lot of people think if I just had more clients, everything would work out. Why? Cash flow is probably the biggest problem with businesses. That's the number one reason businesses close is cash flow. So people think cash flow equals just more clients. But with that comes more headaches and more, like, when you're never focused on finding the right clients, you're going to struggle.
Absolutely. I think it's key. So obviously you need clients to run your business, but to what you just said, Todd, it's finding the right clients, and not every client is going to be for your business. And then on top of that, are you retaining them? Are you retaining them? Is your staff retaining them? Because if you're getting a bunch of clients, then not keeping them, then it's like fake numbers. We did I forget what it was called, like a mail out coupon thing in the beginning. And I remember at the beginning of every month, we were getting a ton of clients flowing through the business, and it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Now they were all on discounts, coupons, whatever. And we never saw any of them again, maybe one or two. That was it. So it was cool. We felt like that first week when that Groupon or coupon went out, it was like, oh, this is a successful week. But then when you looked at the numbers, when none of them came back because they were looking for the next deal, it really didn't help us at all. If anything, it like got in the way of us finding the right clients to grow the business, which is a slow pace sometimes. But yet we want those clients that want to stay, that appreciate what we're offering and see value in what we do at Hello. I think also it's looking at the clients that stay with you long term, appreciate what you have, and making sure you're taking care of them because they're actually in your business. And then when they're in your business, making sure they know everything you offer in your business. So you could probably grow services that you're offering to the clients you already have and focusing on that.
I think it also, Jen, when you just flood your business with more clients, it's also going to amplify any existing problems that you have.
Yes, agreed.
So look at it this way. Would you rather have 10 clients paying you $1,000, or would you rather have however many 100 clients paying you $10?
Right.
So
numbers are the same at the end, but how many do you
right.
want? I'd rather the 10.
So I think you're going to have, if you have some sort of communication issue, whether it's you're not someone that has booking software, which is wild, but you're somebody that doesn't have booking software, so you're dealing with everything yourself, that's going to be an issue because now you're dealing with way more clients. I think if you have weak systems, those are going to get exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I think if your team is stressed out in any way, that's going to add stress, not reduce it. And I think that anywhere where your experience or the service that you're delivering is inconsistent, that's going to become more obvious to people because it's like, what are the shows I always quote, like Kitchen Nightmares and all those shows where they go in and they stress test the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So if I flooded, because I've been asked this question when I owned my gym, I worked with a great mentor and they said, Todd, if I dropped 300 people in your business today, what would you do? And I said, I would freak out. I would have no way to handle them all.
Yeah.
Because at that point it was me and then a couple of part-time people. And they explained to me, you don't have the systems, you don't have the foundation set up to even handle people, but you're saying that you want more clients.
Right.
Doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's super common because in the beginning of your journey, you probably started out in either school or your first salon or wherever you worked, barbershop, said you have to be available and it's all about getting clients and build your clientele and this is how you build your books. And you just thought more and more and more. Eventually, you want to start to shift that from more. And I'm not saying you don't want a constant flow of clients. We have new clients every day. I'm not saying that, but it's just not going to solve problems that exist. Yeah, it's going to magnify things that already exist, if anything.
And again, to point out, sometimes it's not you need more client problem. It's you need to take care of the clients you already have. And how do you grow that? If they're already loyal to you, then they're going to be loyal to other offerings that might be in your business.
Yeah, and it could be as simple as you just have a different sort of issue going on. So more client, again, if you're charging whatever X for a haircut and you're not profiting off of that, you're not going to start profiting off of it if you have double the amount of clients.
Right. The problem then becomes you need to look at, are your prices actually priced correctly for your business?
Because you're using more product, more water, more electricity. Yeah. You're using more of all this stuff that you're already not making money off of. So it might be that issue. I'm just throwing something out there.
Yeah, it's just things to think about.
For sure. Yeah, you might not need new clients. You might just need stronger retention. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have a slow trickle of clients coming in. Not every business is going to see 100 new clients a week or a month or whatever. And you probably don't need that. You might, but I would say you're playing in a different field or a different demographic if that's what you're doing. You probably need better systems. Maybe your culture needs a little help. Maybe you have expectations that aren't being met. I don't know. Let's move on. So a lot of people, Jen, this one I think you will relate to, think that being busy means you're successful. Why are you laughing? Tell us.
Because I was probably one of those. The busier I was, the more success I felt like I would have. Or I think it created a feeling inside that was like, if the salon looks busy, then clients will think we're doing great, right? And we have times in the salon where it's just me and a client and they're like, whoa, where is everyone? I'm like, oh, so-and-so took the day off or whatever. It doesn't mean that we're suffering because the salon isn't jumping around, but I used to view it that way. Also at my last salon, I took just as many clients and I made way less money because my prices were so much lower. So I looked busy. The whole salon looked busy, but we were negative 1% every year, if not more. So just because we
1.5.
were just because we were super busy and clients like, wow, it's so busy in here. We were negative every year. We were not profitable. We were losing money. But from the standpoint of the staff or whatever, they thought we were making bank and we were slowly dying, which we did. We closed. So that mentality is really a bad way to look at things. It's being efficient to me is really what's important.
Yeah, let's talk about the pricing and the maths real quickly because, yeah, full books, they feel successful. But if you're so busy and profit are not the same thing.
Not even close.
So if you have this, how many times have you seen this? How do I get to $1 million? How do I get my business to $1 million? How do I break 7 figures with my business? Why? You have to ask why first, because if you're not profitable, you're not going to be profitable there. Right. You're just going to owe more money, or you're just bleeding out more money.
$1 million that year that we were negative 1 or 1.5%. And I would have thought the same thing. Oh, we're bringing in all this money, and we did, but then we were still negative. So the number didn't matter at all. It's that bottom line. That's what you should be focusing on.
Yeah, exactly. You guys were paying $15,000 a year. Yeah. So if you brought in $2 million, because a lot of people think being busy,
then we would have been at
more clients, you would have been paying $30,000 per year.
Guys, that's crazy when you hear that, but that was the business I ran at my last salon. Like it was, it's nuts.
Yeah. Also, busy isn't necessarily sustainable. So, for example, how many times, Jen, have we talked to somebody that says, I don't have time to train a staff, or I can't help my team, or I can't grow a team because I'm too busy behind the chair? That's not sustainable if you want, first of all, for you, for your mental health and for your body.
Right.
That's probably not sustainable. But I wasn't even thinking about that at first. I was thinking for your business to build, you have to build it. It's not just going to magically build itself.
Right. For that future salon that you're envisioning, or your mission statement and core values, everything that you're creating, if you want that to be created, you have to make different steps to actually create it. So you have to find time.
Yeah, the last thing you want is an overwhelmed owner, because then what happens to your staff? They're exhausted. They're stressed. They're not led. They don't know what to do. And you haven't put systems in place. You haven't figured out your pricing. You haven't figured out schedules. Everyone's burnt out. Excuse me. Now you're reacting, and you're probably, because you think busier is better, you're probably reacting with your schedule, and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to open this day up and that'll help. It's not going to help. That's not the direction you need to go in. I'm not saying there aren't times where you'll need to bring in quick cash to solve a quick problem in your business, but you need to start to think long-term too. And I think that's actually on my list somewhere. It might not be, but
the long-term thinking is so important and generally is missed, I feel, the most.
Yeah, I'd agree. Because so what happens, Jen, when people open a business is it's exciting.
Yeah.
You got your logo, you got your paint colors picked out, you got some tchotchkes you're going to lay out. You're going to think, this is the best coffee bar. I'm going to serve whatever, anything but hair.
Mm-hmm.
You start to think of all this stuff and you're like, clients are going to love this because I love it. And then you get into it and you're like, oh, this is a bill. Oh, this is a bill. Oh, here's a bill. Oh, I owe this triple net. Oh, I owe this bill. I didn't see that coming.
All the bills.
Up, fuel increased. You look at all this stuff and then you start to get into the messy middle of owning a business, and it's not so fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where the
newness wears off, and the real reality sets in. Oof.
That's where I think the most fun is, because that's when you're like, okay, this is on us in our case, because there's 2 of us, but this is on me to figure out. I have to figure out this business because it's my business. At the end of the day, you did it because you wanted your name on the wall. You got your name on the wall, and that means you're responsible for everything.
Yeah, now you got to keep the doors open.
Mm-hmm. And then people always confuse, I think, activity or busyness with progress.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we've talked about before, where owners will like, I've stepped back from the chair. I'm doing great. I cleaned the bathrooms today and I put some gift bags together. And it's like, no. You're just staying busy because those are things you know how to do. And those are things that aren't pushing you to be uncomfortable. Those are not things an owner should be doing. I'm not saying you've never cleaned the bathroom. That's not what I'm saying.
No, but those aren't going to push your business ahead.
Right.
And you can offload those tasks to anybody.
Yeah. Sticking tissue paper in a bag isn't going to exponentially build your business over the years.
Oh.
It's just not. And anybody can do it. You don't need some sort of business degree to open bags. But I've seen that. I've seen people that are like, I built out all my new guest gift bags today. And I'm like, okay, you should have paid someone $1 to do that. Not really $1. Don't come at me, people. I just said that. That's why people hate business owners.
Yeah.
All right. My next one is that people think that culture just happens.
Oof. Yeah.
I think part of this is because people believe that they can just say something like we have a great culture or we have a drama-free culture, and then it's true because they said it. But where does good culture come from, Jen? Because I feel like
leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership and hard conversations to direct when there's a misstep, that you're quickly directing your team to be better. And you have to point out what they did that may or may not have gone on very well. And that's not always comfortable to have those conversations. We talk about all the time. I'm always like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And I'm like, do you hear how you just sounded? This is what you said. And they're like, oh my God, why would I do that? I'm like, it's okay. Mistakes happen. I totally get it. But we got to curate a different way to be using different words, or how I want your consultation to go, or how I want you to say certain things. It's constant, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, I was going to add the time component and intention. So your culture just isn't what you say. You don't open on day one and you're like, this is how it is here. And then everyone goes, oh my God, it's awesome. A lot of people think too that if you just hire good people, that it'll just like work itself out somehow.
No.
That just doesn't happen.
No. They need systems, they need rules, they need to understand what's expected of them, all of that stuff. And then that's what we do. And then at the end of the day, we just want you to be creative and have fun.
It's things that are, like you said, Jen, that are reinforced constantly. Yeah. We have people that love to leave stuff on the floor, for example, when they drop it. And that's something that we dealt with this year because it drives me insane. Yeah. So it's something that I brought up, and it might seem petty to someone, but how I look at it is, what do clients see? So if you walk into a restaurant and you see forks and knives on the floor or glass on the floor, what do you think?
Messy.
You think, wow, no one cares here. This is dirty.
Correct.
I went into a place, I'm not going to name it unless they pay me. But I went into a place and I sat down and I was like, there is stuff all over this table. There's things on the floor, straw wrappers and stuff I think I saw. And then visible behind the counter was trash, and that had been just missed. So there was trash on the floor around a trash can. And I just thought, these people don't care. I got up and left. I didn't buy anything. I didn't do anything. I used the restroom real quick. And then I texted the people I was supposed to meet and I said, let's go meet somewhere else. So
yeah, because if out in the open, they're allowing it to be messy, what does it look like everywhere else in that business?
Yeah, true story. So anyways, it's the little things. So why am I telling that story? What we did with that was came back to our staff and I just laid it out. I said, do you know what bugs me? It's starting to actually freaking piss me off is when you guys drop stuff and you leave it on the floor, because it comes across, I know you care, but it comes across to a client or somebody walking in that you don't.
Right. Especially when you're kicking it around, which means you have a second, pick it up. Yeah.
Again, somebody might be like, wow, I wish I had a problem that small. Those are called details. And those are what takes your business from everywhere else and puts it into an A tier.
Yeah. And our team knows that we pay attention to detail and things are really important to us.
I think we hit on all the other notes I had for that naturally. So let's move on. All right. This is back to leadership. So here's another, how many times have you heard this, Jen? How many times have you heard people say, we're family? We're a salon home. No one lives there. You're not a home.
No.
And no one's related. You're not a family, unless you are related. So nice, friendly leadership equals good leadership. Look, you don't have to be a jerk, but there are times where you're not going to be able to be just unicorns and rainbows with people.
Right. You're going to have to be strict and you're going to have to be direct.
Yeah, I think this is a bigger deal than people think. And I believe it comes from people still being afraid and allowing the staff to dictate what happens in the business. Going back to my opening take of the woman that had her salon and was like, I'm growing too fast. And while I'm grateful, I know I need to put systems into place, but I don't want to upset people. putting systems in place it comes from good leadership.
Right.
People want standards. People want to know what's going on. So every time that you avoid a difficult conversation, you're not helping your staff get better. You're not helping them become the best version of themselves within your business possible, which means they're not going to have the most success.
Right. Which means they're going to leave.
Which means eventually they're going to leave. Why?
Yeah.
Because you want everyone happy and you want to avoid tension. So you let things slide.
You're running a business and anyone under your business wants to make more money and grow and get better.
Yeah,
and at all different paces. We have people that are a sloth pace. They still want, when we have meetings, to grow, get better, and make more money. So it may not be a sprint for them, but that is still their end result every year. And we help them get there if they meet us where they need to be. And then we have people that are at a sprint and their accountability is held differently, right? Everybody wants what they want, but at different levels of that. And it's our responsibility to help them get there and keep pushing them.
And it's kind of, I don't want to seem mean or whatever, but it's kind of too bad if you don't want to have difficult conversations. You came into this to be an owner. That's part of being an owner.
This is your job.
The clarity that people will have in your business matters so much more than their comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a quick example. So we have 2 people that I'm working with to create some opportunities for them and to help out with some of the stuff around the salon. And one of them said, I need you to be so directly clear with me. I need you to tell me exactly what you want me to do. Leave nothing. Tell me exactly what you want me to do, and then I'll be able to do it. I work so much better when I know what you're looking for. A, B, C, D, whatever, lay it out. And I was like, thank you for telling me that, because I can do that. I can lay out exactly what I'm looking for. Now, this person, I'm not worried about whether she thinks it's a good idea or not. I'm still going to lay out what I want done and my expectations, and she can decide if she wants to do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people are looking for. And some people might not even say it. Some people might not be comfortable telling you that, but I guarantee you that they want to know the rules. They want to know the expectations so that they don't have to worry about meeting them or not.
Right.
No.
Or be micromanaged because you're like, oh no, I wanted it this way. If you didn't explain how you wanted it and now you're trying to tell them to do it again, that's on you.
Yeah. And there can be accountability in your business. We have, I think, was it our first meeting? We had, whatever, it was one of our first meetings we did this year, finally. And we sat down and the stylist said to us, I need you to just tell me directly what I missed last year. What do I need to be working on? And she said, this is why I don't get nervous for these meetings, because I know you're just going to tell me what to work on and I'll just get better at it. Mm-hmm. And if I don't, I think she said, I'd like you to be more aggressive. She might have even said, I need you to yell at me.
Yeah.
Which isn't really our leadership style. But this is
I'm not yelling, but I will say we have some different conversations now.
Yeah. This is what employees are telling us that they want. And I'm just cautioning people because not all employees have that in them to have that conversation with you. So you're going to have to just do it, or you're going to have to explain the why. You can go to your top stylist that you think is going to feel all bent out of shape when you put some rule that you know you need to put into place. And you could say, hey, I wanted to come to you to let you know, here's why I'm doing this. I'm doing it to make everything better for everyone here. I'm doing it so that you're more successful because my vision is leading me down this road and I want to take you with me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, we have people on our team that they'll shrug their shoulders. We make a change and they go, okay. They know we have their back. They know that we haven't let them down yet. So why would they stress about it? So anyways, people definitely want you to be clear. And I'm not saying be a jerk. I'm not saying don't be friendly. I'm not saying don't spend time laughing and telling stories and sharing parts of your life with your staff, because that stuff is important. But when it comes time for work and how things are supposed to be done, they need to be done how you need them done because you're the leader.
I would say make sure if you're blurring those lines between family, friendship, and business, that you can unblur them when it comes down to the business and have the conversations you need to. Yeah,
and don't worry about other people's discomfort. I said it earlier. team that takes you from 1 to 10 likely isn't going to be the same team that takes you from 10 to 100. Some of those people might be the same, but businesses grow and evolve over
Right.
time. It is what it is. How many times have we seen massive companies where the founder of the company isn't even involved anymore? Or say there's two. Look at Apple, right? There was two Steves. One of them left.
Mm-hmm.
That's your top person. That's half of your top two people left. And look at what Apple is. So the team that got them started wasn't the team that got them to where they are today.
Right.
Now they have thousands and thousands of employees.
That's
They're not all the same. People will naturally come and go. That's okay.
Yeah, that's expected.
Here's one that people probably think: freedom automatically will make your people happier. People say that they want freedom, but this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about. What do people actually want, Jen? They want clarity because they want to know what the heck's going on.
Expectations.
Exactly. So when
Rules, boundaries, all those things.
when you apply for a job, they give you the parameters and the expectations up front. They say what's expected. They say, this is how things go here. This is what you'll be responsible for in your role. Here's who you report to. Here is how you go about getting raises. Here's how vacation works. In the salon industry, we're looking for someone with 3 years experience. We got good parking and we're drama free. And then they show up and they don't know what to do. And then we're confused that they don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's leading. Nobody's actually leading businesses. Again, I'm not saying businesses don't exist that do this well. I'm sure there are. This is for the people that haven't learned this yet.
Right.
So I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying these are the things. And what are people looking for? Along with clarity, they want support. They want to know that you can help them or guide them. That should buy them speed. Your mentorship to a new employee should accelerate their career, not hold them back. In this industry, for some reason, people want to hold people back. Well, I want an assistant for 3 years. You're in my assistant program. What? You're just sweeping floors.
Yeah, it's just costing you money too. It makes no sense.
You should be accelerating their career. You should want them to be further along in their career after 1 year than you were. Not the opposite.
Absolutely.
That's
they
how
should
you
see the value in that.
Yeah. That's how you build that growth opportunity for people. You think just leaving them out to figure it out and then letting stuff fester because you don't want to have conversations. I give them freedom, so they should just know. That doesn't work. What else do they want? They want consistency. They want confidence. If you're not confident as a leader, then people are going to pick up on that and they're not going to follow you. Period. And that could be as simple as just knowing the why behind the decisions you're making. If you're just copying the salon across the street and that's your answer, or you're just one of those people that says, this is how we've always done it. I see this all the time, Jen. I've been behind the chair for 38 years. This is the system that works. I saw that the other day. I showed it to you. And it was funny because I'm like, that doesn't work at our salon. We do it way different.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that works for you too. Again, there are multiple ways to get to where you want to be. But in that example, was a really dated system.
Yeah.
And
I think knowing the why and being able to explain it is huge.
Yeah. I also think people want to know where they stand too. I don't want to be guessing as an employee.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be guessing if I'm doing things right or if I'm progressing or whatever. And that's just, I think, maybe regular touch points with people, just saying something simple as, hey, great job yesterday. It doesn't always have to be, let's sit down and go over your retail numbers. That's not what I'm saying.
Honestly, I think a compliment like, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
A compliment like that, like if you just even, and you mean it, like a great job, people thrive in that environment. Hey, I saw your work yesterday. You did awesome. Oh, okay, great. Thanks. That's how you start creating even a great culture, is just by small, like little, like you said, touch points. It doesn't have to be this major meeting, nor does anybody want major meetings all the time.
Right. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say that every once in a while you can just boost people up. Sometimes, for example, I'll sit down with someone and say, hey, Jen filled me in because Jen does our payroll. Jen filled me in. You had your best week ever. Congratulations. That's so awesome. How can I help you get to your next goal? Something like that. And then people know you have their back. They know where they stand. They feel like they're making progress. This is all more important than just freedom. The word freedom kind of means nothing. It's something that people are just throwing around now. We offer freedom. That's not necessarily what people even want.
Yeah, you're going to have to define that too.
Sometimes once in a while, for example, I'll read through reviews and just give that as a touch point to our staff. Hey, you guys got these reviews. Here they are. And I read them and post a video on Slack. Or sometimes I type them out and I tag everyone. Hey, these reviews came in. This is awesome. People are digging what you're doing. Let's step it up. How can we do this better? That's it. That excites people because we're giving them another target now. It's not just good job and then you leave it at that.
Yeah, that's creating positive energy.
Yeah, and there are times for good jobs. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you did a really good job today. Sometimes I'll grab somebody and I'm like, hey, you really helped me out today. I got busy, you swept for me or whatever. You jumped in, you grabbed my cape, whatever the little tiny gesture that they showed. Or, hey, I saw you jump over. Jen had a client show up that didn't even have an appointment on this day because they messed up. But Jen loves that challenge for some reason. So her client didn't even know that she didn't have an appointment, even though Jen was running around crazy. And I saw you jump in and help. That's cool. Something
real
like
life.
that. Yeah, real life stuff. But appreciate people. That's way more important than freedom. What do I have? I think I have two more quick ones here. This one is comes down to communication, but a lot of people think that if someone is unhappy, they'll tell you. A lot of owners think that if I don't hear anything wrong, there's nothing wrong. Most people in the world don't communicate directly.
Yes. Or well.
So what you're going on is really your avoidance as a leader, which is probably going to lead to some sort of passive aggressive, even if it's not passive aggressive, but frustration that you're going to sit with or someone else on your team is sitting with because they expect you to do something and you're not. Right. Because you're like, well, no one's complaining. And this goes back to those, what we were talking about a few weeks ago, Jen. Things are always great until they're not.
Yeah. And then it explodes.
This leads to a buildup. So there's either this frustration or there's an emotional buildup or whatever. And then people start making assumptions because you're making assumptions and they're just following you. And then all of a sudden you have this sort of, I guess I'll use the word disengagement. And that could be quiet. But that's where people are like, yeah, I don't know if I'm happy here. And that's where all of that stuff creeps in. And Jen, how many times have you told the story with the boyfriend and girlfriend breaking up over the trash?
Yeah.
Whatever.
They didn't break up because the boyfriend or girlfriend didn't take the trash out. It was everything that led up to it. But this, again, it goes back on leadership, those hard conversations and those touch points. You got to check in with people. And sometimes just asking, like if I notice even someone's off, I'll just say, hey, do you have a second? You seem off lately. And sometimes it's nothing. And sometimes they're like, actually, like last week, this really drove me nuts. And it's nothing big. It's nothing major. I do know the team enough personally.
Because we don't let it become major.
Right. So I can just see when there's something off. And it may be more personal, might not even be in the business, which even still, I'm there to help if they need my help or be there for them to vent. That's part of my job. But mine is to see when things look off to then call it for what I see it. And sometimes it's nothing. And sometimes it just opens up exactly what needed to happen for a conversation.
For sure. Communication that's your biggest thing right there. And I think the reason it's so big, and if you are worried about people leaving and you want to protect your business and you're one of those people that is like, how do I get more staff? It's not always about getting more staff, just like it's about getting more clients or not being about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, or not even sometimes, I would say usually, most often, people leave emotionally before they physically leave. Agreed. Like they've emotionally checked out of your business and they're just trying to figure out their next steps. And by the time they've emotionally checked out, that's usually, I would say, you've lost them. And maybe if you're good, which if you were good, you wouldn't let it get to this point. you be able to retain them. But again, do you want someone that's like half one
Right.
foot in, 1 foot out? And it's not always on them. Oftentimes it's on us. It's on you as the leader to open up the conversation or to be approachable enough and to make yourself available to people. And by that, I mean all the things that Jen just talked about. You have to be the one grabbing people and doing these little touch points and whatever.
Yeah.
This one kind of reiterating where we maybe started, but working harder is going to fix everything. I think that's just a major mistake, and we can kind of wrap on this, but owners default to effort often. Like, I'll just do more things. I'll just give more to the business. I'll sacrifice more. I'll work more hours. I'll hustle more. And the reality is that stuff is only going to carry you so long because you're going to burn out. Or you're going to miss stuff, or you're not going to have time for the conversations with your team, or you're going to be burnt out. So you're not going to go home and take a look at your pricing and be like, does anything need to be updated or adjusted? You're not going to look at expanding something that would compound over years. You're just looking at the day-to-day little stuff that's in front of you, and you're going to get exhausted, which is why what's sort of a buzzword now, but systems in businesses, they matter. Because if you had a system in place that takes your brain out of the equation, we already answered that question. So you can direct now people to your handbook or to often once you deal with it and tell people what the system is, they know.
Yep.
And if they don't, create a way for them to figure it out. Right. I don't know what you have to do, but go ahead, John.
The working more mentality, I find, is generally the things that you think you need to work more on are the absolute opposite of what you need to be working on. So you only know what you know. So you just keep, I'll just do more of what I know. When, like you said, Todd,
or I'll just do it myself, people. That's
and it's just
myself. You're never going to grow a team.
Correct. So if you're like, I've got this, I got a little more energy, I can work more, we'll figure out what will, like you, Todd, you'll say it this way, like what will work more to move the dial in your business in the future. Put your energy there. Don't work more on the stuff you're already working on because it's not doing anything. So it's kind of taking a step back to focus on what do you need to work more on and what's going to get your business moving ahead in the future. There's where you put your energy. But most often the work more mentality is directed in the wrong direction.
So I agree 100%, and I lied. I said we were done on that one. I have one more, and I want to talk about it. We can be quick, but long-term thinking, people think can wait till later.
No, they can't. Baby steps are going to get you there.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm not saying don't launch with minimal viable product. That's a strategy. I get it. But you need to have where you want to end in mind before you begin. Otherwise, you're going to jump into you're going to be hiring from behind, which is going to make you reactive, which is going to make you be like, this person showed up, they look okay, they talk a good game, hired.
Yeah, you're not going to make traction.
Yeah, and then your other problems, your pricing, or making so the emotional component goes into pricing with what's the term people emotional discounting, where people are like, oh, I raised my prices, but not for my clients. What are you talking about? New clients are at that price, but my old clients are at the same price. Yeah, that's emotional decision making. And
eventually you got to get them all on the same page.
Yeah, you're not going to progress. And then you're going to be juggling people at all different rates and trying to figure out where everyone is and why did this person pay $10 when you charge $200 for it now?
Yeah, no one has bandwidth for that.
We've seen stuff like that happen where people were paying 25% of what the person charges because they just didn't want to raise the price on those people. And where that I think puts you is instead of building, it puts you in this survival mode. You're just trying to survive every day. You're just trying to survive every week. We're just trying to make payroll this week. Yeah. We're just trying to pay this one bill. If I have 4 clients today, I can pay this one bill. That's not a way to look at a business. But that's
sustainable.
How people look at it. Yeah.
Right.
But your long-term thinking is what's going to shape everything. And that's going to go to, again, your standards, which is what you accept in your business, your culture, which is also what you accept, systems, retention, and your development as a leader, yourself. You have to think, where do I want to be? Where do I want this business in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And
that keeps you on track.
That stuff can't wait. That's all I had. We can definitely stop on that, Jen. Sorry.
Love it.
All right. That's all I got. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye. Have a great day.